We're going to start our quick slants. We got 3 topics right here, and I'm starting with the Buffalo Bills. Through 3 games, this was a hot offense. They were rolling.
Were they?
You and I were talking about Josh Allen. He's the MVP of the league.
Were they?
Through 3 games. Well, were they is the question. Because last week against the Texans, he goes 9 for 30. Yeah. That's a 30% completion rate, and that is the lowest for any quarterback that has thrown 30 passes in a game in the last 30 years. And you go to the previous week, they were dreadful in the first half. This week, they were dreadful in the first half. Have defenses figured out this Bills offense right now?
Yes, they have. They figured it out. They said, hey, these guys don't have any wide receivers on the outside that we fear. Not one of them. Mm-hmm. And this is not a slight to any of them. The biggest thing that I see out of their young rookie receiver, Coleman.
Keon
Coleman isn't he can't play. He can play. He's a heck of a football player. I believe he's out of position.
Oh, okay.
I believe that they have put him out of position. Listen to this, right? Sometimes I'm watching a game, me and you a text, and I'm like, bro, there is something going on, right?
Yeah, you do.
Lined up 163 of his 174 offensive snaps this year, thus far. 91 times he's been on wide left, and 72 times he's been lined up wide right. Here's the problem. You ready?
I'm ready.
He's lined up as a isolated receiver 73 snaps this season. He's averaging 2 yards of separation this season. Now, he can run. Fastest on his 49-yard touchdown, 19.35 miles per hour. So he can run.
Only catch of the day.
Yes. However, coming out of college, I said he gets stuck out of his breaks, drifts out of his breaks. When you drift, that means you allow the DB to undercut. He doesn't separate as much as you hope for and gets outside of his framework a lot. And the biggest thing that I've noticed is he doesn't win right away, which Josh Allen will go off of you so fast. And so I believe he's out of position. You put him in the slot, give him a mismatch against a smaller DB. Listen, when he was playing against Jalen Ramsey against Miami, they won that game. But he was getting clamped down. I'm talking about toast, jam. They were right there, okay? And so when your quarterback drops back and he sees you getting jammed, he's not going to go, let me throw it. He's going to look the other way. If you put this young man in the slot against bigger linebackers, against some of them that are not as fast as him in that short area, you give him a chance to really impact the game. But putting him outside at X wide receiver, stationary stand, no motion, and just saying our guy can beat your guy, man, he's not going to do it. Not consistently. Not the first day of school. You're setting him up for a really average rookie season, but he's not an average receiver.
Now let me ask you this: I understand the move and set him up to succeed is what you're supposed to do as a coaching staff.
Supposed to.
I'm curious if that fixes the Bills' issues. Because I'm asking around, I'm talking to DCs, I'm going, what's the situation here? And they go, your best playmakers are in the middle of the field. Your tight ends and your backs and the screen game, and everything's thrown there. What you can do is you can just put your corners outside and say, listen, we're going to leave you alone out there. You can handle this wide receiver group outside the numbers. Then we're going to take our resources and we're going to do what, Steve? We're going to put them elsewhere because we don't have to worry about out there. What did the Texans do? They used those resources to go after Josh Allen and keep pressuring him because they got extra bodies to do it. They hit him 9 times. Probably should have hit him out of the game, honestly. Unreal how
man, here's you talk about that. You got Curtis Samuel, who's a number 3 wide receiver. He was at Ohio State. Joe Brady is very familiar with him. He was in Carolina with him. At that time, he was a top 5 in third down catches that you can get you in the first downs. Then he went to the Washington Commanders and got a pretty good contract and realized the contract and the responsibility the ability to fulfill those responsibilities, about there. Huge gap right there. That gap was so big, they said, hey, we're going to let you go because we would rather deal with the dead money than not have the production on the field. And so now you have Curtis Samuels playing with the Buffalo Bills as a number 3 or 4, but he's become your number 2. He's not a number 2. And so you have a lot of guys who potentially should be on special teams, and you be adding to your offense as a guy who can come in and spell your starters, give them a breather. Those guys are playing right now.
Isn't that my point?
Yeah, they're not
Right?
they're not very good.
Yeah.
Right? Holland,
You don't need to,
he's
so
a
if that's
great
the
player.
case, you don't need to worry about him out
You
there.
don't need to. I mean, you can. I'm not even gonna say what I was just about to say. I was going, ooh, something I was gonna say.
Now I
It was
wanna
gonna
hear
be
what you're gonna say.
mean. We don't need to do that. Nope. Stop, Smitty. We're not doing that.
But you get what I'm saying? I understand everything you're saying about Curtis Samuel, Mac Hollins, if you will. You're looking at this receiver group and where it stands. If they don't have the lead, Steve, I don't know how this is sustainable to try to come back in games when you're down, if this is what you're dealing with and this is the way defenses are having it. I texted one defense coordinator, I said, I said, hey, I kind of listed what I said to you, and I said, so are the Bills, is the offense figured out? And they said, yep.
Mm-hmm.
The offense figured out right now, which is why they were interested in Devontae Adams.
Should be.
Because they know for a fact go look at Minnesota. They replaced Stephon Diggs with who? Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
Then Stephon Diggs leaves Buffalo, and you replace him with essentially Keon Coleman. Maybe this grows as the year goes on. Do you see it growing? Do you think Bills fans have something to worry about?
Grow.
Or can a rookie? It's a big spot you're putting a rookie into
It's an
in a team that
unfair spot you're putting a rookie into. And yes, it does grow.
Okay.
Here's what grows: frustration, losses.
Oh, okay.
That's what's gonna grow because they don't have a fix. Dalton Kincaid can play. Knox, they can play. Like you said, middle of the field. But now you balled that up with blitzes and having people out there look like an end's coming, but he's dropping out. All of that stuff. And then you run a TE
Everything's
games.
in here.
So you keep everything, you play everything in between the hashes. You keep them condensed, contained. You have a spy. And the way Josh is playing right now, uncomfortable, he doesn't stay in the pocket long enough to decide to throw to my guy or not. He's going, I got to get out of here. It's hot.
It's interesting, man. It's going to be interesting to see how this changes, how they adapt, because that's the way the league works, right? Everybody figures you out. You got to change something. But I'm just curious if they have the personnel to adapt back.
They don't. Unfortunately, I love the coaching staff. I love the team. I love the fan base. Mm-hmm. You're not going to be able to will these wins. You're going to have to actually play good football. And I don't think offensively they really have that right now unless they can get a Devontae Adams or someone on their roster that can really kind of show up in a way that's consistent.
Two things as we close this out. One, they wouldn't be looking at Devontae Adams if they thought the receiver position was fine. They wouldn't be looking at receivers if they thought the position was fine. Two, one defensive coordinator told me the way things went through the first 3 games, it's just not sustainable throughout the course of a season to run your offense that way.